I'm back. Thanks to the generosity of an old friend, I am no longer recording from my telephone, which will make my mother very happy. She told me last night that the sound was not so good on my iPhone videos, so I apologize for that. So back to the webcam. I've just returned from a 2-mile walk. I feel absolutely amazing, aside from my poor little baby pinky toes, who seem to be saying, "Bitch, you didn't make us wear anything but flip-flops for 4 months. What are you doing?" So I had to get some blister band-aids because there's definitely some very much ouchiness going on there. Um, my feet don't like shoes. They really don't. But other than that, I I did 2.04 miles today, which the idea of passing 2 miles for me still just blows me away. It's 2 days that I've done it now, and it's kind of like, well, now that I can, if I do under 2 miles, I feel like I haven't gone far enough. So um, I did turn on the mileage counter on my Zombies app so that I know when I've hit my 2 miles. And what I did today was, the mission takes about 30 minutes. So I hit the 1 mile mark, and I said, okay, I'll go until the mission is over, and then I'll turn back, and then I know I'm guaranteed 2 miles. So that was definitely a good plan. It worked quite well. Um, Two things I want to talk about. And let's start with the Debbie Downer stuff. I had talked earlier about my fear of trolls when I first started doing the video blog and everything. Just because I look at myself and I hate what I see. And I know that other people look at me and all they really see is my size. I mean, people who don't know me. And I know I get judged. I do. And having extreme social anxiety on top of low self-esteem and looking the way that I do, I have a constant fear that I'm being laughed at and made fun of. And it's not a completely irrelevant fear, because the fact is that I have been laughed at and made fun of by total strangers to my face. And sometimes it's not meant to be that way. The worst of it comes from children, and that's unfortunate. There's three instances that stand out, and one of them was really harmless. She was a sweet little 6-year-old.
A text. You might want to read that. It might be important.
That would be a
text.
Sorry about that. That was a text message congratulating me on making 2 miles on my walk. Thanks, David Tennant. I'm going to turn the volume off now. I really like that tone. Just like hearing his voice. Anyway, where was I? Let's try that again. Sweet little 6-year-old girl. I was a manager at an apartment complex in California, and for some reason, it was weird because I don't really like kids. The kids would always come into the office to hang out and chat with me. And this little girl came in one day, and she started talking about how her mommy was in a bad mood because she was dieting. And I said, well, nobody likes dieting. It's not any fun. She said, well, my mommy's fat. She's not as fat as you. She didn't, she was at that age where there's no filter. So it hurt, but it was forgivable. Another time I was giving a tour while I was working at Universal Studios, and had a group of middle schoolers, and it was myself and another tour guide. And the kids were on their lunch break, or their snack break. And I was talking to my partner on the tour and, joking about being in the sun so much, and said something about getting crow's feet early. And one of the boys piped up and said, "Oh, is that from sticking your head in the trough?" as he shoveled potato chips into his mouth. I put on a smile and basically made him my special friend for the rest of the tour. And every time I needed to volunteer, I made sure to pick him because he was embarrassed. So, it was like, all right, yeah, it was a little vindictive, but the worst was the most recent. And even though it happened about, I would say, 3 or 4 years ago, it still stings. I came home from work, and there were some kids playing, about 12, 13 years old, and neighbor kids. One of them had a little Yorkie named Toby, who was kind of obnoxious and rarely on a leash, which pissed me off because I hate to see dogs not leashed when there's cars moving around. Um, but you know what? These kids have been my neighbors for a while. They play with their little radio controlled cars in the street. They skateboard. Always very cautious when I drive through. They'd have their skateboard ramp in the middle of the street, and I would always cautiously drive around it. Never did anything to them. Never gave them any reason to not like me. But I came home from work that day, and they were out playing. And I stopped at the mailbox, and I got the mail. And I hear the dog start barking. And I start up the sidewalk towards my house. And the dog starts chasing me. I'm not deeply concerned about this tiny little Yorkie chasing me. It's not like he's going to hurt me. And then I hear his owner chasing him, yelling, "No, Toby, no chasing whales." I didn't turn around. I just kept walking. And I went in the house and I binged. I didn't know what else to do. There was nobody home. I cried and I binged. But I see the way people look at me. So I know. And I hear the jokes that people make about other large people. I mean, you watch TV and it's basically like fat is the last acceptable prejudice. America's Funniest Home Videos may as well be called America's Funniest Hits in the Crotch and Fat People Falling Down. I guess because most people assume that if you're fat, it's all your fault. Regardless of there's so many people who have thyroid problems, who have medical problems that make it impossible for them to exercise, who have metabolism problems, who have genetic disorders. There are people, yes, there are people who eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And I am one of the eat and eat and eat and eat and eat peoples. I have an eating disorder. I have a food addiction. I have a binge disorder. And that's fine. You can call me one of the people who it's all my fault. Just don't do it to my face. Don't laugh at me. When my arthritis is at its worst and I can barely walk and I go to the store, I can't bring myself to use one of the motorized carts because they are known as fat people carts. I can't use them because of the stigma. So I suffer through the pain of walking. People are cruel. Kids, especially. Bullying is so real and so out of control thanks to the internet that I've experienced so much face to face bullying that my terror of internet bullying almost stopped me from starting this vlog, which has been so therapeutic for me. I don't have a job right now. I don't have insurance. I can't see my therapist. I'm lucky I can still get my medication. Without having a therapist to go to, this vlog is my therapy. This is what's pulling me through. So the fact that I almost didn't do it because of the fear of bullies kind of pisses me off. And I'm very glad that, I had a friend who encouraged me and reassured me that everything was going to be okay and that I was going to just go ahead and do it and everything would be okay. So there's my bullying rant. And I will just leave it with, please think about what you say to people. It might be something as innocent as, well, I'm just worried about your health. Don't. You say that to somebody. We know we're fat. We don't need to be told. We get it. You want to be a friend. You want to support someone. You want to be social with someone, and you want to be encouraging without having to say, hey, you're fat, let's do something about it. How about not making socialization about food? Instead of, oh, hey, let's all go out to dinner. How about, hey, let's all go play mini golf? So much socialization surrounds food that it gets very aggravating. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought because after the bullying, I want to go on to something else, and the fact that while I say people are mean, there are also people in the world who are so amazing and generous and kind that there are not enough words to thank them. And there are so many people in my life right now who have done so much for me with the situation that I am in. The only reason I'm talking to you via webcam right now is because of one of them. And I am so beyond grateful for how kind people can be. Because we do live in a world of so much cruelty that kindness and generosity are not the norm. And I would love to see that change. I would love to see people start thinking and just taking the time to be kind. If you can just reach out your hand and give somebody help up, you can make a difference. You can be you can save someone's life. And I'm going to go Forrest Gump now and say that's all I have to say about that, because I'm about to start getting very weepy. And just to those of you who have been so supportive and so amazing to me, thank you. And I know you have said no repayment is necessary, so I will promise you now that I will pay it forward when I can. I will do for someone else what you've done for me. And okay, let's just get off that note. Sorry, I'm still itchy. I'm tired of being, oh, bugs. Way too much one with nature with the mosquitoes. Tired of itching. Alright, anyway, anything else going on? Talked about the Harry Potter letters. I'll post the link again. That's it. That's all I got. I'm back on the webcam. I'm ready to go. I have rambled for almost 17 minutes now. I apologize for how long this is. It's just, it's a little different now that I've got access to a webcam instead of using my phone. So, sorry about that. I think it's time for me to eat some lunch and then take a shower, because I am super sweaty after that walk. I'm gonna see you next time.